Okay. This is where you want to go, the Disaster Recovery Center. Okay. Where you want to come, all the fire victims, you want to be, or any disaster, the Disaster Recovery Center, DRC, Disaster Recovery Center. And as always, FEMA brings their mobile home unit, or motorhome unit, onto site in case they need to use that as a headquarters. They've never let me use it for camping. I don't know why.
There's somebody inside of it.
Well, when we stopped at the DRC, the Disaster Recovery Center, we actually talked to a FEMA employee who was brought in all the way from Puerto Rico, okay, because he speaks Spanish. And so in case there was any Spanish-speaking victims here, they brought him in all the way from Puerto Rico. It's kind of a wonder that Region 9 doesn't have anybody who speaks Spanish, really. Your tax dollar at work, what can I say? Frogtown, USA, Calaveras County. A little history behind that. When I was a kid living in Jackson, California, kind of by the fires here, I actually entered the Calaveras County frog jump.
With armor.
And that's with the warmer, and that's where a lot of the victims are staying right now. We just talked to a few and gave away a few books. More in a few moments. Awesome.
Okay.
Yep. Driving up and looking at the fire. There used to be a mini mark and gas station, country store here. It's amazing none of this blew up, especially the propane tanks over there. A lot of cars burnt right where they sit. Anyway, we're gonna go find some of the people's houses. They're living in their tents, just like it says in my book, in front of their property. We'll be back with more from the fires. Wow, lost their cars, everything. Okay. Another victim of the fire, survivor. They're doing it, they got their tents up, and lost his trailer, tractor, all that stuff, but he's got my book, and he has one of the greatest attitudes I've seen out here with the fire victims. He's just incredible. Hey, we knew it was going to happen. It's just a matter of when, and we'll recover and move on. Great attitude. We'll be back.
And sitting down.
That was an awesome survivor, you know, and it's just amazing. They offered us something to eat and drink, even though they've lost everything. Just, that is an awesome survivor. Another one just burned it. And you see all the foliage, you wouldn't think that would burn the house down to the ground, but there it is. The intense heat just catches it on fire.
Tell them to share your book with the neighbors.
Not that fast. Oh, there we go. Wow. Yet another home. Beautiful country up here. Burned to the ground. Evidently they couldn't get their car out. Here's their car, their shed over here, their garage, and another car. Looks like an old sports car there they had. Deer everywhere. Look at them. They were all just laying around. They're running now, and then they had an outbuilding back over there where the deer are. Yeah, we're definitely in the mountains with the deer running everywhere. Wow. Here's another outbuilding, another neighbor's house. You can see in the distance, propane tank blew off the top. Anyway, we'll be back. You can really see it went up that valley there. Wow, you can really see how much it burned. Unbelievable. Okay. A really nice big house up there. This must be turn of the century house and they lost it. They have a tent and stuff. I'd like to talk to them. I don't know if they're there though.
That's nothing compared to what.
111 miles, 111 square miles of just burnt terrain. And so many cars lost in the fire. Wow, this is a nice little nook here on the side of the hill.
Yeah.
It will be again though one day. That's for sure. All right. I see this all over the place. It's very unfortunate. It's one thing robbing people and stealing, but stealing from a disaster victim is the worst, and they need to get stricter laws on dealing with looters. Hey, there's my book, Disaster Manual, Financial Recovery. Here's some of the things that we found out while we were up there at the fires. First of all, a lot of people didn't have ALE, additional living expense. That's really important. You need to check that on your insurance to make sure you have it. A couple people did because they had deluxe insurance policies and they got money immediately within a day or two into their account, $3,000 to $5,000. You know, but if you did get money and you didn't have ALE, they end up subtracting that from your rebuilding costs. So you need to remember that. Also, all the victims, none of them had any household inventory lists. That's huge. They come out with an adjuster, they give you this list then, and your house is burned to the ground. They're asking, what was in little Johnny's room? What size TV did you have? What was the brand? How much did it cost? When did you buy it? You know, you're traumatized. You're living in a tent in some football field in a high school, and they're asking you questions like that. Inventory lists are important. They're in the back of my book for people to fill out. Also, a lot of people didn't know about applying for FEMA for temporary housing if they didn't have additional living expense, so that their insurance can put them up. Apply for FEMA and get that temporary housing. Also, a lot of them found out they didn't have enough coverage. So one person only got $15,000. Their house was burned to the ground. What are they going to do with that? Okay, it's really tough out there. You need to make sure and know and talk to your agent. Give them scenarios of different disasters. One if I have 3 foot, 10 feet. A lot of other people too learn the hard way too is when they tell you to evacuate, do it. Because you may have a chance to get 2 or 3 truckloads of your most personal and prized possessions out of your home, and especially photos. Everybody is always really heartbroken and crying over the lost photos, a family item, jewelry, stuff like that. Some of the other thing is make sure and let the insurance company make you an offer before you get a public adjuster. Give them a chance. If you don't like what they're offering, get a public adjuster. Now when you get a public adjuster, make sure that you know how much he's going to charge you. They can charge anywhere from 5 to 50%. State of California does not allow them to charge more than 18%, but 18% of, if they give you $100,000, they're getting $18,000, okay? Usually the going rate is 5 to 10% if you got a really good public adjuster. Make sure their qualifications too. Make sure they're not a rookie, because that can really blow up in your face. Another thing is, don't let the insurance companies wear you down. I've worked several fires before, or floods, or tornadoes, or hurricanes. Do not let them wear you down, especially on fires. It can take weeks, months, years to settle with them, okay? Another option on that too is apply for FEMA as a federally declared disaster, so you can apply and get an SBA loan. I know one individual who actually is my doctor. He did exactly that, got a loan for $200,000, rebuilt his house. He finally settled over 2 years later with his insurance company, and then paid back the loan with the money. So make sure to take care of that. If you get denied by FEMA, appeal, appeal, appeal. Don't stop appealing until you're satisfied that FEMA did all they could for you. Other than that, I think I covered everything. What can I say is, all of that is in my book, Disaster Manual for Financial Recovery. Get one today. Get it before the disaster, and I'll tell you right now, all those disaster victims said the same thing. I wish I had this book before the disaster. Thanks. I'll be going out to the Valley fires next and help a lot of those victims. I'll be handing out my book for free with them too, just like I did here at the Butte fires. Take care. I grew up when I was a kid here. Behind this hotel is where I used to catch my frogs for the Calaveras County Frog Jump. But this is the area where the fire happened. This is Jackson. Still has the old buildings from the Gold Rush day and all that. Quite a place. Fargo Club used to be a bank. This is where I grew up as a kid, and this used to be a brothel in the Gold Rush days. Check it out.
And because, leave the sound on, and because Frex would cut school to go down and catch frogs, they turned it into the school superintendent building.
But that's since retired. Go. Caution. Bordello. Brothel. Yeah, they cut the power off and everything. Used to live there when I was a kid. Evidently some more fire victim cars. Historic Jackson. There it is.